We want to say hello and good morning to all of you from around the world. I want to welcome you to another edition of This Morning with Soulivity, broadcasting live from our nation's capital right here in America, Washington, D.C., or on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Brian Wesley Johnson, and of course, I'm glad you're here because this is a great show. And I am joined today by my very special friend, Sheila Applegate. Good morning, Sheila.
Good morning, Brian, and everybody.
We want to send some love and healing out to our other co-host, D'Angelo Thompson, who is out today. I hope he's listening in. D'Angelo, we're sending you some
Feel
light and
better?
love. Feel better. Um, um, yeah, he's a little under the weather today, and we of course we want people to take care of themselves when they're not feeling that well. So, how's your week been going, Sheila?
It's been going great.
Really?
Fast, but I feel like we say that all the time these days.
Yeah, we were just kind of talking about like the days of COVID when
Yeah,
everybody was working remotely and I guess just I felt like things kind of slowed down a little bit.
yeah, that was
It
so
is,
beautiful. The whole world just seemed to slow.
yeah, I remembering uh my family out in Southern California sent me pictures of downtown LA,
Mhm.
and it was perfectly clear. I mean, it was
Yeah,
like I'd never seen
mm,
downtown LA from you going in hills and that kind of thing. It's a little hilly, but it was no smog. It
right.
I mean, like azure blue skies. It was amazing. And it
Yeah.
just seems as though again, like things just kind of slowed down and I know, there was other things going on, but there was some beauty in there. There was some real beauty. And
Absolutely.
kind of relates to I guess what we're going to be talking about today, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Listen, but before we begin, I just want to remind all of our listeners that listen, you are part of this conversation. We want your questions, your comments, your thoughts. Just post them directly to our chats on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll do shout outs to you, because we want you to be part of this conversation that empowers today. So, um, Sheila, you have a great topic for us. I'm going to hand it over to you to kind of open and
All right.
guide us into this. So I'm here, and here's Sheila.
There we are. So we're in March, right? And it's March 8th, which is not only Women's History Month of March, but it's the Matrix of Illumination, where I'm
Yes.
celebrating the divine feminine. So I thought, if we are celebrating the history of women, what better place to start than with Gaia, Mother Earth, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that is our womb, our nature is what creates us all. And
Mhm.
so, you know me, it comes out, all you listeners, you know this too by now, because every time I'm asked a question about what I do, hobbies, whatever, I'm like, well, I like being in nature, right?
Well, that's cool though. I love it.
And to me, I think it's not even a hobby, it's a lifeline for me. And recently, I'm a writer and I had a deadline for a collaborative book that we're doing. And I noticed how important it is for me to be in nature when I'm writing something, when I have a deadline to write, or and on any creative project. So I got thinking, has anyone done a study on this, right? Is nature essential to our creativity? We know it's
Oh.
essential to our mental health, right?
Mhm.
But what about creativity? And I'm wondering, I can't wait to hear from you, Brian,
Mhm.
about how it affects your creativity. But
Mm.
I did look it up and I did find a study from Psychology Today.
Mhm.
It was from November 28th, 2022 is when they posted about it. So it's an interesting study. And what they did is they took 56 outward bound students, both males and females, and they divided them into 2 groups. And then they took the first group and they gave them the RAT test, which I'm gonna tell you about.
Okay.
And they took that before taking a 4-day hike. And
Hmm.
then they took the second group and they sent them on a 4-day hike on the trails of Alaska, Colorado, and Washington prior to taking it. Okay. So one group takes the test, then
Mm.
goes out in nature. The other goes out in nature, then takes the test. The results were startling. There was the participants who took the test after 4 days in nature
Mhm.
that showed scores that were 50% improvement in their creativity score.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a thing. It's a thing.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really interesting. So there is definitely a correlation there, right?
Yeah, between
Uh,
creativity. Yeah. So
wow.
the yeah, so the test they used is
Uh-huh.
the remote associate test.
Mhm.
And that's what psychologists have been using for a long time to, assess various cognitive abilities linked to creativity.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and so they each, is presented there's 30 or 40 questions in their test that they did. So each is, presented with 3 cue words that appear
Okay.
to be unrelated,
Okay.
okay? But they're linked by a 4th word, which is the correct answer.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so an example, the example they give is cottage,
Mhm.
Swiss,
Uh-huh.
cake, and then you think
Hmm.
about what answer would come to those, would connect all of them, and they give you
Right.
the answer to this one, so we're gonna give you all this answer.
Right, 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 right.
And Brian, what do you think it is?
Is it cheese?
It is, right.
Oh,
So
okay.
you've
Well,
got
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
cottage cheese,
Uh-huh.
Swiss cheese, and cheesecake, right?
Right, right.
So it connects all of them. So that's how you do it. All right. So today we're going to try something because I thought it would be really fun if I give you, the
Okay.
audience, all of you listening, and you, Brian, two of these questions.
I'm doing the game show music in
Yeah,
the
I
background.
know.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
All right, you guys all ready?
Yeah,
Creativity.
let's
We're
go
gonna give
for it.
you 2 of these now, and
Mhm.
then we're gonna talk about nature and see if even that affects your scores. We'll give you 2 later. How's that
Okay.
sound?
Sounds
Okay.
great.
Okay, so the first one,
Mhm.
high,
Okay.
HIGH, district, and house.
So
And if yeah,
so it's high, district,
district,
and
house.
house. That's the
And
first
we're
one.
looking yep, and so we're looking for a word that connects all 3 of those. And I
Okay.
think you're putting it up in the stream for people who can wanna look,
Yes.
right? And
Mhm.
if you're out there and you have access, write it in your thoughts, all right? Don't be afraid to give it away to everyone else. Just try your thoughts so we can see what's going on, what your guess
Exactly.
is.
Exactly.
Should we leave it at that and talk and then give a second one, or should I give you the second one right now? What do you think?
Let's let that lie. Let's let
Okay,
that lie.
cool.
And then okay, so it's high, district, and house. Okay, this is a little tougher.
Yeah,
Maybe
they do
maybe I should
get
take a walk and come back. No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
right. It's okay to get this wrong. It'll prove to us that talking about nature makes it
Ah, it's so funny. All right. So, and again, we'll put this back up right before we come to the answer on this one. Again, I love this because I truly believe that we're connected to everything.
Mhm.
Um, I know for me, I guess we'll talk about this in a minute, but growing up in Detroit, you don't think about like, oh well, nature and that kind of thing. But basically Detroit is almost surrounded by water.
Mhm.
And so there's a special connection for me with water.
Right.
And walking by water and seeing it flow and that kind of thing. And so I love this because I think that just like that study kind of showed, um, there is a correlation here, a strong correlation. I mean, you don't go to causation, right?
Mhm.
Um, unless there's like study after study after study after study where now it's moving out of um, correlation into causation, right?
Right. Yeah.
Um, but you can't deny. I mean, you had these people take this test, and there's 50% higher scores from
Right.
people that were in nature before they took it, and so there's something that's there that um that's important for us to know. Um, Sheila, I know you have this strong connection with nature. How does that show
Yeah.
up? How does that show up for you when
Well,
like with stuff that you do? Because you do a whole bunch of different things, which is really cool.
yeah. So I'm like you. I grew up on water. I was fortunate to have a summer home on a lake, one of the Finger Lakes in the area. And I was just out there every day of the summer. If I wasn't in the water,
Uh-huh.
it was you know, it was an electrical storm, you know.
Right, right.
And then I've just always needed to be around nature. And I thought about, you said, Detroit, a city isn't thought of as a place with nature. I thought about, I've lived in London and I've lived in Baltimore. Um, and I always had to find nature wherever I was, and I ended up being by a park, right? And
Right.
being able to go over and get that little piece of nature every day. And my kids, they live in cities, Seattle and LA, and both of them are within walking distance of a nature park. And I think it's interesting.
Wow.
Um, yeah, but for me, it's everything, right? I wanna be out hiking and walking. I go barefoot in the snow. I have spikes for the ice on my shoes.
You are like just like the full on like, like nature lover, you know? I love that
Right,
though.
and it's not that I'm out in it every minute, but I
Right,
have
right,
to be out in it. I can only go a certain amount of time without
right.
being out in it and reconnecting to it, and especially when I'm writing, like, I
Mhm.
have to take breaks and go outside or connect with nature somehow.
Wow, I'm thinking about what you're talking about. I mean, I love nature too. I don't get out in it as much as I would like to. But there's also something about like the homes that I've lived in. My favorite places to live
Mhm.
always had big windows where I could look outside
Right,
and
right.
see it and be and kind of feel like I'm in it. And so I know that that's an important piece. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to keep talking about nature. We're going to remind you about the quiz. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about, uh, how each of us kind of interact with nature and that kind of thing. So we'll be back in about 2 minutes, everybody. Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame. Living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Solivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
Are you ready to take that first step towards true, unwavering inner happiness? Are you like thousands of people who have everything they need, not want, but need, and still can't seem to find happiness and fulfillment in their lives? If so, The Steps to Happiness show is for you. On my show, you will learn about the principles and practices that lead to true inner happiness. Because guess what? It isn't found in our external environment, but within ourselves instead. Together with my guests, we will explore the latest physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being practices. And together, we'll advise you on the actionable steps you can take towards a happier, more fulfilled, authentic life. So I invite you to join me each week on Soulivity TV on the Steps to Happiness show with me, Teresa Greco.
And welcome back to This Morning with Solivity. This is Brian Johnson with my beautiful co-host, Sheila Applegate. And we're talking about how being in nature enhances your creativity and your life. I was reading in Thrive Global, which is a great source of great information, inspirational information. And they were talking about this is 5 proven ways spending time in nature inspires creativity. And one way we already kind of talked about, nature can help you get inspired, which is part of this test that we're helping people do today, which is kind of stumping me. This first one is kind of stumping me. but they talk about the nature can boost your memory. And they say a great memory can be important. It can be an important asset when it comes to reaching your full creative potential. A study from University of Michigan found that students' memories improved once they spent time in nature. All the student participants took a memory test. One group then took a walk in the Arboretum, and the other took a walk through some city streets. When both groups returned, the students who walked in nature scored 20% better on their test, while the students who walked through the city didn't show any consistent improvement. So what do you know? What do you know? So, how do you interact with nature specifically, Sheila? I mean,
I do it on so many levels. What
Okay.
were you going to ask?
No, I mean, because I know like going out in it is one thing, but interacting with it is a little different, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I like that question.
Yeah.
I do interact with it. And that is what brings me such joy, I think, because
Mhm.
to me, everything is alive. Zach always makes fun of me or teases me, we'll say,
Right.
because I call everything people. So if I'm going to feed the birds, I'm going to feed the outside people.
Aw.
But they're all alive to me, including the trees. And I talk to them mostly telepathically. But I do love to imagine them talking to me too. And, right now I have a relationship going with the crows in the neighborhood, a few of them, especially one who Zach says he's training me, but I believe think we're training each other. And, it just brings me such joy because now he'll just come and look in my kitchen window when I'm in there. And I respond by going out and giving him a couple nuts. And he used to fly away and then come back, or he used to caw at me. But now it's like getting into those subtleties. So I just love subtlety with nature. And I am a tree hugger. I talk to them and I meditate with them too. That's probably the
Oh,
other thing. Tonight, I'm going to take people in the meditation right down into the roots of earth and just feel what it's like to
wow.
be inside earth, because it's
Wow.
incredible.
Wow. As you were talking about that, I remember growing up, there's I think one little fact about Detroit that people don't really know is there's tons of different kinds of birds in Detroit because we're
Mhm.
right on the border of southern Ontario, Canada.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of birds that migrate across the Detroit River because it's a short path for them to fly across, right? They don't
Uh-huh.
typically want to fly across large bodies of water, because then if they don't want to get wet. But I remember growing up, these robins
Mm.
created a nest literally right outside of our kitchen window.
Mhm.
And we saw it was like so beautiful because we saw how they interacted with like the two robins, the two parents would interact, and how
Yeah.
they had a system in terms of how they entered into the nest and left the
Mm.
nest. Like when they entered the nest, they come up beneath it and hop out. And then when they would leave, they would go off the top and go over the
Oh,
top of the
interesting.
tree. So they had like this whole process that was there.
Yeah.
And, of course, they laid eggs and they had chicks, and you'd see them taking care of it. I mean, so this whole story, this life cycle story,
Right.
how they did it. And I can remember as a little boy, I was so sad when the chicks got old enough so that they would leave the nest. And then the nest was empty. And so you see how that kind of effect had an effect on me because
Right.
I still remember it to this day. Like, it was just so awesome. And we would go out, if um we'd go out and kind of lay like like breadcrumbs and stuff around at the bottom, and they'd go down and grab food, because we're like,
Mhm.
hey, you don't have to go out searching for food. We got some food for you. And it was just kind of cool. It was just, I mean, I can't explain the energy. I mean, it's just the connectedness of that life is everywhere, and there's a
Right.
celebration of life everywhere. What do you
Right.
what do you think, Sheila?
Yeah, I love that. I love when, we get to have when we are let in to these sacred moments with the animals and nature, and I love when they respond back to us. So
Yeah,
um
yeah, yeah.
we have bunnies every year in our yard,
Oh,
and I just get so excited when they come out, and some of them just are so friendly with us. There was one time I was walking down the yard, and one of the little bunnies came running at me like a puppy dog, and I got scared because I was like, "If I bend down, it's gonna jump in my lap, and then what does that do to nature?"
right.
And they listen to us when we talk, even out loud, because I think, if you talk out loud to them, you also have to send the picture because they talk in
Right,
pictures. They can
right,
understand if you visualize something. And
right.
people who have animals, especially dogs, that. Like with
Yeah.
my dog, when my dog was alive, if I pictured going for a walk, just started thinking about it, Sammy would come running in from the other room and start barking and ready to go. So you get evidence when you put yourself out there to communicate.
Absolutely.
And then doesn't it brings the wonder and the awe back into
Oh,
life. So it makes sense. It brings creativity in.
absolutely, absolutely. Listen, we're gonna take a break, and we get cut back. We're going to have an answer. Well, I'm gonna try to have an answer to the first quiz. If you haven't, thought about it yet, it's right in our chat. You want to find the word that connects these three words together. It's high, district, and house. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll find out what the answer is. See you soon. 6 years ago, when I started Solivity, my vision was to support everyone in improving their life through the discovery of their passion and purpose, so they could become the best version of themselves, to battle fear and ignorance, and create a better world today. Get inspired to live your passion and purpose. Visit Soulivity.com now. You can find all the Satonic products at our Go shop on Solivity at go.solivity.com now. Shop for beauty products, skincare, hair care. It is all there at the Go shop. Go shop Solivity. And we're back with more this morning with Solivity. I'm joined by my great host, Sheila Applegate, and we're going to try to go into the answer for our really quick, test that we have that's part of the remote associates test. I think this is, and so I'm going to put the quiz up here again. It's there's one word that connects these three words, right, Sheila?
Yeah.
And it's high, district, and house. And so what is the answer?
School.
Wow. I did not get that one.
I didn't either, to be honest. So it's high school, school district, and schoolhouse, right? I did town, which didn't quite work, but kind of got that district one. I thought, well, it could work.
I kept thinking white, like White House.
Yeah.
I kept thinking that, but it didn't.
White district.
White district, right? Well, it could, but
it could, right?
But I mean, you live in a rural area, right, of New York, or
I do. Yeah. I'm, maybe 7-minute drive to Syracuse. Well, even less if you talk about the outer side of that, which is not rural really, but I am in a country suburb, and then I spread outward into more country and the Finger Lakes and waterfalls everywhere. And yeah.
And so one of the quote unquote issues that I think some people have sometimes is, how and where do you connect with nature when you live in a city, right?
Right.
And I'm a city boy. I grew up, there was only one time at which I didn't spend as much time in the city, and I was in like a suburb, which is still basically technically the city,
right.
but where you have to try to find and make some things work. And the truth is, I think Sheila, I mean, you lived in London, which is a big city. There's nature everywhere.
Right.
It really is. If you want to find it, you can find it.
And people do. That's when I go to big cities, like if I'm in New York, or I'm thinking New York because that's probably one of the most condensed cities. I always notice there's these tiny little parks around, right? I mean, there's big parks where people are full, but if you go by a small park at lunch hour, it is so packed. It's like,
oh man, yeah.
It's like everybody needs it. There might be one tree, but everybody's come to be around this one tree. And I've noticed that, like, we just need it as humans.
Absolutely, we do. Absolutely, we do. I know, everybody knows my favorite city in the world is Paris. And so Paris has tons. I think they made a concerted effort to make sure that nature was integrated into the city in a way where there's trees and there's parks. And what I love is that you can even in as big of a city as that is, and as packed as it can be, if you walk down the street, you're undoubtedly going to find a little park that's basically it's just you and a couple other people.
Nice.
And you can just go in there and just like chill out and be around the birds and the squirrels, and it doesn't even feel like you're in the city anymore. And so I think it's important. Nice. Hey, do you want to do another? Want to try to give?
Yeah, let's do another one.
All right.
Ready?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, the one looking for the word that connects these 3 words.
Okay.
Wheel,
Okay. Will.
hand,
Uh-huh.
and shopping.
I'm gonna post this up to the thing so that people can see it. So everyone.
This one I got. This one was a little easier for me. We'll see if.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah, it was.
So will, hand, and shopping. We've got these. Oh, I got it.
Do you got it already?
Yeah. I think I got it.
We'll
see. We'll see.
Isn't that cool? Now, I know this is so superficial, but like we did the first one before we started like tuning into nature and talking about it, and then
that is okay.
I don't know, it could mean nothing, but it's cool to imagine that it does. Like your brain shifted.
I think that you may have something there, because I think as we talk about it more, you feel like you're there, right?
Yeah. I do, for sure. Yeah.
Let's see here. We're gonna end this segment with another benefit about this, and it says nature improves your mental health. If you're struggling with your mental health, you will never be able to reach your full creative potential. Spending time in nature can help boost your mood and improve your overall mental well-being. In a study from the mental health organization known as Mind, participants either were assigned to go for a walk in nature or a walk in the shopping mall. The study ultimately found that 71% of participants had reduced symptoms of depression after their walk in nature. As for the group of participants who walked through the shopping mall, 22% of these participants were more depressed after their walk. So
I can feel that. I was a mall rat when I was a teenager, but now I do not understand mall walkers.
That is, it's funny. It's a little sad, but it's funny.
It is sad. I'm usually depressed after going to a mall.
Right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of This Morning with Solivity.
Hi there, Sheila Applegate here with some exciting news. I've joined the incredible Soulivity team as the host of the new Consciously Awesome live show, where I will be sharing insights to help you discover your full brilliance and claim the vibrant life you deserve. So tune in every Wednesday right here on Soulivity TV to join the fun, and remember to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an awesome week, and I will see you on Wednesday.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame, living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Solivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
And we're back with more of This Morning with Solivity, and we're talking about how being in nature enhances your creativity and your life. And I'm here with Sheila Applegate. Sheila, what was one vacation that you remember where it was more about being in nature than anything?
All of my vacations.
I love it. Oh, that's so cool.
No, I mean,
that's cool.
I
That's
like to
really
go
cool.
to cities, but even, I did a short jaunt out to LA to see my kids,
Mhm,
recently, and I really noticed. So Sarah lives right in Los Feliz and in LA. And we were only there 4 days, and 2 of the days were spent in nature, and I just
mm,
thought that's really interesting, right? Like, one day we went to the beach, and then the other day we went to Joshua Tree,
mhm,
um, and I noticed at that point that everywhere I go, I'll be with people, and I'll see some of the main sites,
mhm.
but nature has got to be a part of my travel.
I love that. I think the one I mean, Sasha is originally from Jamaica Island, so we'll go to
Mm.
Jamaica and we'll have a blast there and all that. But I think the one time that really stands out is again, and it was like a cross section. We went to Rome together, and I had arranged for us to do a bike tour through
Mhm.
Rome where you're learning about, the history and all that. But what was so cool was the bike trip went all the way out into the aqueducts. So it's a long way
Nice,
out.
yeah.
And you're literally riding through from park to park to park to park to park.
Wow.
And it was, we were like little kids when we got to the beginning of the aqueduct that was there. I mean, it was like, you can actually go to where one of the ancient springs kind of begins from the mountain, and it's like
Oh,
pouring
wow.
out, and then it goes into the piping or whatever, the ducts themselves. And there's 3 of them that are remaining, but it was just so I mean, we were tired when we got back, I mean,
Mhm.
and that kind of thing, but it was one of those good tired's where
I was
you
gonna say
felt
it's a good tired.
oh my gosh, it was like your whole body had gotten, like, cleansed, not only from the
Right.
exercise, but your mind and your mental state was just so clean. I mean, I still remember it to this day,
Mm.
around it. So, yeah, that was the one that I remember,
Yeah,
a
that is
lot.
incredible.
Alright, so we wanna go to our quiz again? Yeah, or see if
Sure.
we got this
Should we
one?
give
Alright.
all right. The last Go ahead.
Yeah, so we've got the quiz, and it's a word that connects wheel, hand, and shopping, right?
All right, yep. Are we
And
ready for the answer?
alright, here we go.
Cart.
W Yeah, I got that, and now what's interesting
Yay.
is that one popped into my head immediately, right
That's
after you
awesome,
said it,
right?
and so, is it because we're talking about nature? Is it about
Right, right.
because I
Could
do
be,
feel
right?
or is
Like,
it my coffee? No.
right? Or are some just more easier to associate than others is true. Like, so if they were doing if in the real test, there were 40 of the questions, right? So
Right,
I think
right.
your brain will start to see the patterns too.
Mhm,
One pattern I noticed, we'll just give it as a hint to people is, and I don't know if it's all of them, but they seem to have like 2 that are either in the front of the word and 1 at the end,
mhm.
or vice
Wow.
versa, right? Like, so it's
Mhm.
looking both ways. Should we put another one out there before we move on?
Yeah, do another one. Let's do another one.
Okay, catcher,
Catcher,
CAT, yeah.
uh-huh.
Food
Catcher, food,
and hot,
and hat.
hot, hot,
Alright,
hot.
here we go. And so we're gonna put these up so that everybody can see them. Catcher, food, and hot. Hmm,
Hmm.
that's an interesting one.
So do you change your connection to nature during seasons, Brian?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. Um, I mean, growing up in the Midwest, we had all 4 seasons.
Mhm.
You would do things growing up, I would do things differently. Um, you know, even even what was kind of fun was like raking leaves when I was growing up.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
you might not wanted to do it when it first started, but by the time you get all the leaves together, you're, like, playing in them.
Right, right. Yeah.
Rake them all over again. Of course, in the winter, you're, building snowman and playing out in the snow and snowball
Mhm.
fights and stuff like that. Tobogganing was always fun. Oh my god,
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Skating. I love
it's
to
it,
skate.
yeah. My
I
dad,
love
I found out that my dad. I remember I was, we would go roller skating, but we had
Mhm.
never gone ice skating till I was a little older. And come to find out, my dad could really ice skate. Like, really?
Oh,
He's like,
wow.
yeah. He was like, yeah. We didn't have like those roller skates, but in the winter we would go ice skating out on lakes and stuff. And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I love the spring here in DC. I mean, I
Mm.
definitely want to go check out the cherry blossoms again this
Yeah.
year, which is like amazing. Hopefully, you'll be able to come, Sheila.
Well, what they tell me the height of it is I'm going to be in Seattle, but we'll see. Maybe nature will spread out and give time for me to get back and go down and
Yeah.
see it.
And then summer, I mean, beach weather and all that kind of stuff. So
Right. Yeah,
I
picnics
think
and
the
beach.
variety is a spice of life. And so the fact that we can enjoy it in so many different ways, it's really cool. And around DC, there's a believe it or not, I mean, everybody kind of knows about Rock Creek Park, which is the main park that goes to the center of the city, and you can walk through
Mhm.
there and bike and run and all that. But there's also there's a whole trail system of literally dozens of trails that go in and through Maryland and DC and Virginia, where you could literally go
Mm.
from one state to another state.
Oh, cool.
And so I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool. How about you? Do
I
you?
am very connected to seasons,
Hmm.
for sure.
Hmm.
And I love them. I think people that grew up with the seasons are very usually kind of addicted to them, or like you start to learn. I don't know. I think it helps us connect with nature.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you have to find different ways. But I still love, like, if I'm going to a waterfall, I'll go in the winter. It's beautiful in the winter as much
Oh
as it is in the
man.
spring or the summer. I had to change because skating was my thing, and then I injured my knee, so I had to
Oh,
change, and do more of the hiking. Like I said, I got spikes to put on my boots so I could go out in the ice and stuff.
wow. Wow.
But I love when spring comes and maple season, and you just see it coming alive. It just brings me definitely get creative in spring.
It's funny. I wish that um Americans will really kind of take the same adage as Europeans do when it comes to like the
Mhm.
seasons, because they're outside regardless.
Right.
If it's cold, they put some heaters out there and some
Right. Yeah.
blankets, and 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 they're outside enjoying it. And so I'm putting that out to everybody. Let's get out in nature a lot more, okay?
And you know what? COVID did help us with that here. Like, there
Yeah.
are more restaurants that have created some outside seating for longer into the seasons
Yeah,
than there used to
absolutely.
be. Yeah.
Absolutely, especially here in DC, that which was really cool. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna find the answer to our final little quiz on for a remote associates test, and we'll talk about some tips on how you can connect with nature. We'll be right back.
Hi there, Sheila Applegate here with some exciting news. I've joined the incredible Soulivity team as the host of the new Consciously Awesome live show, where I will be sharing insights to help you discover your full brilliance and claim the vibrant life you deserve. So tune in every Wednesday right here on Solivity TV to join the fun, and remember to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an awesome week, and I will see you on Wednesday.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame. Living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Solivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
And we're back with more of This Morning with Soulivity, and we are going to reveal the answer to our final little fun quiz, which is a remote associate's test. And we want to connect these three words together: catcher, food, and hot. And what's the answer, Sheila?
Dog. Hot dog.
I was getting that one, but it was having a little trouble trying to figure that one out.
I was even trying to help you all because that's why I moved into the seasons, get you thinking about hot dogs.
That's funny. You know, there's some great tips on how to, connect with nature and improve your mental health and creativity from the Mental Health Foundation. And I will put the link in the chat so that you can learn more. The first one is find nature wherever you are. I mean, that's so important, right, Sheila?
Yeah, yeah. And it's everywhere. I mean, you can't not be in nature, even if it doesn't feel like it, right? Find that spot.
Exactly, exactly. What's a tip that you have, Sheila?
I really like the tip from that too, that was using all your senses in nature. So when you are in nature, if you're going for a walk or whatever, maybe leave your headset back home, listen to the sounds of nature, smell nature, touch it, taste it if there's berries nearby or something,
Yeah.
don't just see it, but really immerse yourself and pay attention with all five senses.
Another one that is here is, which I I absolutely love, and I think we don't think enough about, especially if we're in cities where there's parks and that kind of thing, but it's a little bit more difficult for you to get out. Is bring nature to you, so
Yeah.
having plants in the house is a great
Hmm.
way of having something natural to see, touch, and smell, especially things like pots of herbs that give off a
Right.
beautiful aromatherapy for you. I thought that was really cool as well. How
Yeah,
about you,
one
Sheila?
of my favorite things with that is
Mhm.
I have a bird feeder that connects to the window. So they're eating out my
Ooh,
window in my kitchen. So if I'm doing dishes or whatever, the birds are sitting right there with me.
wow,
Yeah, that is
wow,
really fun.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead. Um, this was a great topic.
I agree. It was
This is,
amazing.
I
I
think,
like it.
again, I
Well, I
think
could talk about nature anytime.
yeah, I think we don't talk about things like this enough, where um where it does have this big of an effect on us.
Right.
And we're like, well, I'm walking to work, or I'm getting in, leaving my house, and I'm in nature before I get in my car.
Right. One of the things I'd love to end with for this is that the study that I read from Psychology Today, they ended with the idea of, nature, being full in nature is what helped us evolve from, the first people
Mm.
in Africa needing to really be in tune to nature in order to survive. And so it said, what does that mean about us now? that we're away from nature, and why are we doing that? So I thought that was something to really think about as a humanity.
Right, right. I love, I'll chime in with that in terms of like that humanity is also being connected to our world around us. And I love
Hmm.
that the fact that the last tip that the Mental Health Foundation had was protecting nature is also part of connecting with it.
Yeah.
And so, you doing things like, making sure that you're recycling,
Hmm.
walking instead of driving if you're not in a rush to get someplace, just walk if it's close by.
Right.
Joining a community conservation or cleanup group is another way of connecting with nature, because you know conservation has been around for a long, 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 long time, even before there were groups. I mean, the First Nation folks were doing this, as
Right.
of their culture and community. They knew that they were part of nature, and so fostering this in yourself will help you grow as well. So that was my final thought as well.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
No, thank you. This was a beautiful topic, I said before.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Now, speaking of beautiful things, you've got another, we talked about this before, but we've got another Matrix Illumination that's coming up on the Aspire platform. There's a link in our chat that you can click on, everybody. Tell us a little bit more about what's going to be happening tonight.
Well, I'm really excited about tonight's because, like I said, in honor of March for Women's History Month, we're going to be in tune with Gaia, with Mother Earth. So I'm going to lead you through a meditation to help connect with the divine feminine
Mhm.
within you. And that will include the spiritual aspect as well as the connection to Earth. And then I'll open up to receive messages from the divine feminine, which can be a whole array of beings. And from that message, we'll be guided on how to move forward with more harmony in our lives.
Wow. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I can't wait. Um, Want to remind everybody that we are on social media. And so, as you know, if you're watching this either on Facebook or YouTube, but we're also on Twitter and Instagram. So you want to follow us there. Also, go to our landing page for this morning at solivity.com/this morning. You can join our mailing list that will allow you to gain access to exclusive content that maybe other people who don't know about it may not get access to it. So we want you to have access to that as well. Sheila, did you have a good time today?
I had an amazing time. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, I had some fun with you too. I want to encourage everybody again, get out into nature and enjoy yourself out in that space because it's going to help you a lot. And on behalf of all of us here, we want to thank you for watching another edition of This Morning with Solivity. We hope that you come back and join us every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern, or you can watch some special live streams on KMET 1490 AM in Southern California at 9 a.m. Pacific. And so until next time, I want to say thank you again for joining us. Keep on having real conversations that empower, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.
Bye.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.